In a quaint little town, a young woman named Pampinia is on the brink of marrying a count from Russia. This event is meant to honor her late father's wishes. Everything seems cheerful and filled with anticipation. But just as the wedding arrangements are underway, an unexpected and jarring interruption occurs. A man suddenly appears and accuses Pampinia of having a debt to him. He claims that her deceased father owed him money, and now that the father is no longer alive, Pampinia must marry him to settle the debt. This shocking demand turns Pampinia's world upside down, injecting tension and confusion into what should have been a joyful occasion. Meanwhile, in the same town, a young man named Lorenzo is in a desperate situation. He is fleeing from those pursuing him, and the reasons for his flight remain unknown. As he tries to escape, Lorenzo stumbles upon a man carrying the lifeless body of a deaf and mute gardener who worked at a nearby church. In a moment of impulsiveness, Lorenzo decides to take on the identity of the deceased gardener. Before fully adopting this disguise, however, he has to elude his pursuers who are hot on his trail. This introduces an element of mystery and suspense as we wonder why Lorenzo is on the run and what led him to impersonate a gardener. Lorenzo's escape leads him to an interesting twist in the story. While hiding in a tree, the group pursuing him passes beneath. But as he remains hidden, a branch suddenly snaps under his weight, causing Lorenzo to fall and lose consciousness. This unfortunate event lands him in a peculiar situation. Two nuns come across the unconscious Lorenzo, but they mistake him for the deaf and mute gardener from the church who has recently passed away. Seeing an opportunity to have a new gardener, the nuns decide to take him with them. This sets the stage for a humorous and confusing turn of events. The nuns' excitement at having a new gardener leads to them examining Lorenzo closely, and they even take advantage of their new gardener by planting kisses on various parts of his body. Just when things couldn't get more complicated, a motherly figure enters the scene. She inquires about Lorenzo's condition and, in his pretense of being deaf and mute, he remains silent. The nuns, believing him to be a providential addition to their church, heed the mother's directives and prepare to help Lorenzo take a bath. This becomes an opportunity for further comic and sensuous encounters, as they expose their bodies and create an unforgettable situation in a different part of the town. Pampinia and her circle of girlfriends and their respective romantic partners are discussing Pampinia's forthcoming marriage to the Russian count. The revelation of her impending nuptials should be a happy moment, but the unexpected presence of a man named Gerbino throws a wrench into the situation. Pampinia, quick on her feet, concocts an excuse to explain their discussion. However, Gerbino is not easily appeased and proceeds to caution them about the consequences of leaving the town. He also draws attention to Lorenzo's friends who are present, suggesting that they should answer for whatever actions Lorenzo might have taken. The narrative takes another twist with the arrival of the narrator. This voice of authority intervenes, urging the young men to conceal their weapons since they are within a sacred place. In the midst of all this chaos, Pampinia decides to make a run for it, heading to another church to meet her Russian count. Her friends mistakenly believe that she has gone to her secondary residence. Returning to Lorenzo's situation at the church, he continues to enjoy the unexpected affection and attention of the nuns. The next day, as Pampinia delivers hot water for Lorenzo, she becomes envious of the nuns' behavior and reproaches them for their sinful actions. This confrontation sparks a conflict, with one of the nuns accusing Pampinia of jealousy. The dispute reaches a boiling point when Pampinia pours hot water on Lorenzo. At the same time, Count Serginsky arrives in town. However, he is immediately ambushed and loses his entourage. Pampinia's feelings for Lorenzo intensify as she hears him singing, revealing that he is neither deaf nor mute, as he had pretended to be. The emerging attraction between Pampinia and Lorenzo adds an element of romance and intrigue to the story. Pampinia eventually feeds Lorenzo and, in a daring move, she closes his eyes and kisses him, even though Lorenzo remains unaware of her true identity. This kiss, however, sparks a special connection and a growing affection between them. As Pampinia gets ready to leave her residence, she confides in her mother about Lorenzo's true condition. It's revealed that Lorenzo is not deaf or mute and has been feigning this disability all along. This revelation ultimately leads to Lorenzo's dismissal from the church. As Lorenzo finds himself without a place to go, he spots a former nun passing by and asks Pampinia to take him with her. She agrees, setting the stage for the two main characters to cross paths. Meanwhile, Count Czerczynski encounters a girl bathing in the river, believing her to be Pampinia. However, the girl takes on a false identity, introducing herself by a different name. Count Czerczynski, who has never met Pampinia in person, accepts her word as truth and is drawn to this lady. Pampinia and Lorenzo, having left the church, arrive at a country house. Here, Lorenzo openly expresses his love for the girl who had kissed him, admitting his intention to marry her. However, Pampinia throws a surprising proposition into the mix. She suggests that Lorenzo might forget about his affections for her after kissing someone else and offers herself as an experiment. This reveals that Pampinia is the one who had blindfolded Lorenzo and kissed him earlier. As their relationship deepens, Gerbino unexpectedly appears with his guard. Lorenzo challenges Gerbino to a duel, but unfortunately, he is defeated. To protect her beloved, Pampinia intervenes and demands Gerbino's pardon, but she sets a condition: after their wedding, Lorenzo must leave the town forever. Gerbino, swayed by love, agrees to this arrangement. Pampinia takes steps to arrange their wedding. She even attempts to delay the ceremony by offering money to the priest, who, interestingly, agrees to her proposition. However, things take a darker turn when two guards are ordered to lead Lorenzo into the woods, presumably to kill him. Instead, Lorenzo spots Count Czerczynski heading toward Pampinia's house and decides to follow him, leaving us in suspense about what his intentions might be. The wedding preparations are in full swing, but the priest's interference angers Gerbino. This prompts Gerbino to brandish his sword, threatening the priest. In response, the priest quickly pronounces Lorenzo and Pampinia as husband and wife, hastening the ceremony. Amidst the chaos, Count Czerczynski dramatically enters the wedding. The groom flees, and the situation becomes increasingly convoluted. The various characters' paths are on a collision course, setting the stage for a climactic series of events. The story takes a dramatic turn as Lorenzo finally arrives at the wedding. He confronts Gerbino in a duel, and in the midst of their fight, Gerbino falls into a well and meets his demise. The tension and uncertainty continue to mount. In the midst of this turmoil, Lorenzo realizes that he cannot marry Pampinia, given the new condition she has imposed. He loves her deeply but is unable to agree to this condition. At this crucial moment, Pampinia proposes a solution. She suggests that Lorenzo should kiss her, and it becomes evident that she was the one who blindfolded him and shared that significant kiss earlier in the story. This revelation ignites a deep emotional connection between them.